This is a true story. Imagine borrowing your lover money for the hairdresser or salon, him gladly giving you the money and even suggesting possible hairstyles for you, only for him to later turn on you later that day, pluck your freshly braided hair out of your scalp and cruelly remove your freshly manicured nails from your fingers. No, he actually cuts your fingers all together. Chilling, right? Well, this is the fate that met one young, beautiful and energetic and ever bubbly Catherine Nyokabi, aged 25 and a mother of one child. But how did this really happen? How did it get here? What drove Catherine Nyokabi's killer to do such a despicable act, and why the change of heart? A simple misunderstanding or a crime of passion maybe? Well, let us find out. Wednesday morning, April 14th, 2021, Kenya, Kiambu County, Githurai. As other residents are busy getting to their early jobs and errands, one man by the name Evans Karani is busy hatching a plan. A plan that he is sure must work. And in the event that it fails, well, I'm not sure he thought past that point. The man, Evans, calls his ex-lover just a few minutes away in Kasarani by the name Catherine Nyokabi, probably just to say good morning. He asks whether they could meet later that evening to iron out some disagreements that they had been having. Kate hesitantly agrees. She, however, asks Evans for some cash to do her nails and hair. Evans agrees to pay for her salon expenses and even drops her at the salon at around midday. This is after asking Kate to braid her hair Ghanaian style as shown on the screen. After dropping her, Evans leaves to attend to other businesses, leaving Kate to get pampered at the salon. At the salon, business is as usual. However, Kate instructs her hairdresser to braid her hair this way, which is a different hairstyle from what Evans had suggested to her. Well, the customer is always right, so the hairdresser does exactly that. Once Kate's hair is done, she gets a replacement for a stick-on or fake nail that had broken. She then calls Evans to come pick her up so they could proceed with their evening. Evans gets to the salon. He notices a different hairstyle, comments about it, but does not make a fuss. He pays and they leave. It is said that Kate had already made plans to leave her child with Kendi, her best friend and cousin, that night, and that Kendi saw nothing out of the ordinary, for they were, after all, best friends. At around 5 p.m., Kate calls Kendi, who tells her that she is in Juja and that she hopes everything is okay. She tells Kendi that she is sending her some money for supper and that she should know that she was in charge of the kids. This is the last time that the two would ever speak. Kendi tried calling after that, but Kate's phone was switched off. Calls to Evans' phone was also not going through. In Juja, it is clear that the two are both imbibing in drinks and making merry. This was concluded after beer bottles, several packs of protection, and leftover fries were found inside Evans's car. Even though Kate may have been aware of the presence of all this, I am sure she did not know that the car also had knives and ropes. Otherwise, what happened next will not have happened at all, and we wouldn't be here talking about this right now. Inside Evans's car, an argument ensues. It is said that Evans wanted Kate to marry him, but Kate declined since she had shown interest in another man. Further, Kate had recently found out that Evans was married and had children, and she was not going to be a second wife at the age of 25 to a 38-year-old man. No, she was not ready to settle for less. She knew her worth and she was ready to prove it. Reports also indicate that the two had been arguing in the recent days leading up to Kate's murder. On one incident, Evans had expressed discontentment and anger towards Kate after finding out that Kate had updated her Facebook profile picture to that of a photo of her newfound man and herself. Evans had asked Kate to delete the profile picture, but Kate had refused, and that is when Evans started hatching a plan to kill Kate's new lover, but he later settled on killing Kate instead. If he was not going to have Kate, no one would. His mind was made up, so he now had to carry out his plan as he had hatched it. He waited until Kate was completely intoxicated and could hardly talk coherently, and that is when he began strangling her using his belt. To ensure that she was really dead, he reclined her seat and used a rope to finish the job. Now that his plan was accomplished, he had to do one more thing: get rid of Kate's body. Evans drove all the way to Tola Estate in Waitakere, Juja constituency, with the aim of dumping Kate's body. You know, life has a way of frowning at you and your stupid, wicked plans, and just like the Bible says, the wicked shall have no rest. Well, Kate's body was crying out, and her killer was not going to see any peace or rest henceforth. If you want to understand what I mean, listen carefully to the events that followed. As Evans drove in the dark hours of the night, with Kate's lifeless body in the reclined front seat of his car, the wheels of the car he is driving get stuck in the mud. Whoa, like this is the worst thing that can happen to Evans at this moment, and he had not factored in the mud when he had hatched his not-so-genius plan. This is like your getaway vehicle getting a puncture or something in the middle of a haste. Anyway, after struggling with the car and the mud for a while, Evans gives up and decides to dismember Kate's body so as to help with the disposal. He starts pulling out her freshly braided hair, he gouges her eyes out, he cuts off her fingers before burning her with corrosive acid. Well, some sources state that all this happened to Kate before her death, meaning that she was tortured to death. But True Stories believes that this happened after the car got stuck in the mud in order to make identification of the body difficult. Evans then throws the body in a nearby thicket around 150 meters from his stuck wing road. He covers it with mud in a rush. He then leaves the car and the body at the scene and flees. April 15th, 2021, Thursday morning, Kenya, Juja, Waitakere, Tola Estate along Bob Harris Road. A blue Nissan Wing Road is stuck in the mud. Residents, onlookers, and passers-by are in shock. A badly disfigured body has just been discovered near the abandoned car that is stuck. At a glance, everything seems normal, but on closer scrutiny, one can see and almost feel the horror that took place the previous night. Freshly braided hair strewn all over and around the car, blood traces around the scene, and with no visible live occupant in the abandoned car, several law-abiding citizens hastily call police officers and inform them of the discovery. Police officers arrive at the scene and quickly verify the car ownership details from the National Transport and Safety Authority's Registrar of Motor Vehicles. The vehicle's registration details revealed the owner, who told the cops that he had sold the vehicle to a third party, and of course, he gives away the name of the new owner. The police officers now have a name. Mr. Evans Karani, a sand broker, is the owner of the vehicle stuck in mud, and as such, he is the main suspect. A hunt is quickly launched by a multi-agency team comprising of regular police, DCI officers, and the agency's Crime Research and Intelligence Bureau officers. By this time, the news has hit the airwaves and everyone is in shock at who could do such a heinous, evil act. Kate's family is equally in shock and disbelief. Detectives track Evans using his phone signal. The hunt leads the officers to a rented house in Githurai, Kimbo, where they arrest the suspect on Friday, April 16, 2021. It is at this point that Evans comes clean and starts singing. He narrates everything to the detectives. He begins by saying, after God, it was Kate. He further stated that he had been dating Kate for a while before they had an intense squabble that led to the loss of Kate's life. He stated that he loved Kate, a mother to a then 5-year-old daughter, deeply, and he had even rented a 1-bedroomed house in Hunter's Kasarani, where he paid her rent of 14,000 Kenyan shillings per month, which is approximately $135 per month, and this he did for almost 3 years. He confessed that the girl she was madly in love with was now leaving him. Evans also confessed that he had on 4 occasions after performing the evil act tried to commit suicide. On the first occasion, he had tried to hang himself on a nearby tree. However, it was daybreak and he was found by people who chased him away. On his second suicide attempt, Evans jumped in front of an approaching vehicle on the busy Thika superhighway, but due to traffic build-up, he did not sustain serious injuries since the vehicles were moving at a relatively low speed. He then decides to abandon that idea since it is not working, and he settles for another idea which he termed quicker. On his third attempt, he tried taking poison, but when the pain became unbearable, he bought a packet of milk and drank it, thereby inducing vomiting. Now, as a sane, rational person, by this time you will think, just stop it, man, give yourself up. Like, don't you see, the universe and everything needs you alive so you can pay for what you did. Not take the easier route by dying, but Evans was so determined to take his own life, so he tried again. On his 4th suicide attempt, he tried drowning himself in a dam in Kiambu County, but his excellent swimming skills could not let him drown. I mean, that is why swimming is categorized as a life skill. It is meant to save your life and not take it. On the 5th attempt, no, just kidding, there was no 5th attempt. He got caught by the detectives before he had thought of another not so genius plan. Three days after his arrest, Evans is arraigned at Thika Law Courts, at which point he does the unthinkable. He asks the presiding judge not to waste time and move ahead without any delay to jail him for the offense. Guilt maybe, or remorse? Well, the judge tells Evans that he needs a mental assessment test first, as is the norm for every murder suspect. He is then detained for 14 days to allow the mental assessment test be conducted. Investigations also are to be completed and the post-mortem on Kate's body be done within these 14 days. On 3rd May 2021, Evans is arraigned in court to take plea. Remember that in his previous court appearance, Evans had asked to be sentenced as soon as possible so he could begin his jail term. So now, before taking plea, the judge informs Evans that if he pleads guilty to Kate's murder, he will be sentenced to death. It is at this point that Evans realizes what is at stake and quickly changes his mind. He will later take a plea of not guilty and the trial will begin. At this point, I would like to state that the post-mortem results showed that Kate died of strangulation and blunt force trauma, which is basically physical trauma or impactful force to a body part. Other than that, Kate's body was badly mutilated. Her 2 hands were cut. She had deep cuts and injuries around her chest, and her 2 breasts were missing. She had injuries all over her head from the plucking of her hair, and her face was also filled with cuts and bruises. She had deep cuts on her ribs that extended all the way to her backbone. The body was also burnt using corrosive acid. Well, I know you are wondering, with all this happening, and if the news and media are all over this story, at least Evans' estranged wife must have heard of the saga. Well, you are absolutely right. She heard what her husband had done and is alleged to have been present during the confession. And it is said that at one point during the confession, she turned to the detectives and stated, "I know him. He cannot hurt a fly." On the other hand, Kate's family acknowledged that they knew about Evans, but Kate had told them that their relationship was on the rocks. Kate's father, Peter Gitonga, stated, I quote, "My girl was hardworking, cheerful, and very loving. Her future was promising," end quote. When asked about Evans, he had this to say, "I knew them to be lovers. Just like in any other relationship, they had differences which I could help them iron out. 2 weeks ago, my daughter said that she and Evans had broken up. I told her it was okay. She couldn't cling onto a relationship in which she was unhappy. This is the last time I heard about the suspect. My daughter died because she refused to marry him." It is indeed sad that someone's mother, daughter, sister, best friend, or even relative had to lose her life in such an inhumane manner. It is really sad that a young life had to be lost just because she said no, just because she bruised a man's ego, and just because she wanted better for herself. As of the date of publishing this video, the murder trial is still ongoing, and we do hope that justice is indeed served. Thank you for watching. If you like this true story and you'd like to view more true stories, click that red subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you could be the first to be notified every time we post a new video.